Alright, so tonight's lesson is lesson 76, and it's multiplying fractions. Now this is the first time that we've ever had a lesson on multiplying fractions, so I know that it's going to be pretty new. Okay, so we've added and subtracted fractions, and when we add and subtract fractions, it involves counting same size parts. So you always have the same denominator, and we're just adding the numerator together to find a different amount of parts. In this lesson, we will multiply fractions. When we multiply fractions, the size of the parts change. Okay, so here is an example of a multiplying fractions problem. How much is 1/2 of 1/2? So I want to know what is the size of 1/2 of 1/2. So I drew a 1/2 right here, and you can kind of think of it as there's another half over there. Like this is a full circle, but here's 1/2, and I want to know what's a half of 1/2. And it kind of looks like that. I mean, we know that it is 1/4. But if we want to write the actual problem with numbers, it looks like this. 1/2 times 1/2. And if you've noticed, the word of means multiplication. When we're multiplying fractions, you will see the word of all the time. How much is 1/2 of 1/2? How much is 1/4 of 1/8? And that always is an indicator of multiplication. So this is what it looks like, 1/2 of 1/2. So 1/2 times 1/2. And the way we do multiply fractions is actually much easier than I think some of you might be thinking right now. The way we do it is we take the numerators and multiply them. 1 times 1, 1. Then the denominators, 2 times 2, 4. And boom, that is our answer. And if you want to see the picture version, this is a picture of it. 1/2, split it in 1/2. What does that become? 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. Alright, and now on to the first example. Maggie had 1/4 of an English muffin and ate 1/2 of it. What fraction of a whole English muffin did Maggie eat? Go ahead, see if you can write down the problem, then see if you can do it by yourself. Okay, so let's see. Maggie had 1/4 of an English muffin, and then she really only ate a half of it. She wasn't that hungry, so she ate a half of it. Your problem would look like this because the word of tells us we're multiplying. So then I would take my numerators. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 2 is 8. So what fraction of a whole English muffin did she eat? She had a 1/4, then she only ate a half of that muffin, so she ended up with 1/8 of a muffin that she ate. Now, have you noticed when you multiply, our normal numbers, like if we were to multiply 4 times 2, it gets bigger. But when we multiply fractions, they get smaller. 1/8 is much smaller. If you had 1/8 of a pizza compared to 1/2 of a pizza by yourself, 1/8 is much smaller. So when we multiply, the denominator, remember, tells us how many pieces it's out of. So if we add more pieces to the bottom denominator, each piece is going to slowly and slowly and slowly get smaller. Okay, so if this is a 1/4, and again, here's my circle, and I kind of just drew a 1/4, and she ate, this is 1/4, and she ate 1/2 of it, it then becomes, this is what a little piece, 1/8, kind of looks like. Alright, in the next example, what fraction is 1/2 of 3/4? Go ahead, try it yourself. Remember what that special word of means. Okay, so what fraction is 1/2 of 3/4? So we write 1/2 of, multiplication, 3/4. Now we do our multiplying of our numerators. 1 times 3, 3. 2 times 4, 8. So our answer would be 3/8. Alright, go ahead and try the next two. Now these are written without the word of, but our multiplication sign is already there. Go ahead and try both of those and see if you can get them, and then check back in with us. Alright, and I'm going to do my I sometimes like to just get it ready, so I will do this first. Alright, 2 times 4, 8. 3 times 5, 15. 8 fifteenths. Next one, 6 times 2, 12. 7 times 3, 21. Now, we are not learning how to reduce these fractions right now. We're just learning how to strictly multiply them. So the next time we meet for class, we will be doing a lot more multiplying fractions. Here is your lesson practice. You have 6 problems. Again, I think multiplying of fractions is going to be a lot easier than kind of what you think it is when you hear the words multiplying of fractions. But in class, we're going to be using some fraction pieces to see why the numbers get smaller each time we multiply them. So go ahead, do your lesson practice, and we will check it when the next time we meet.